Once upon a time, in a quiet countryside, there lived a beautiful young girl named Ella. From her early childhood, Ella was loved dearly by her kind parents. But sadly, her mother fell ill and passed away. Before closing her eyes, her mother whispered, Ella, always be gentle, hard-working, and believe in goodness. After a while, Ella's father married again, bringing into their home a stepmother who had two daughters from her previous marriage. At first, everything seemed normal, but when Ella's father also died unexpectedly, her stepmother and stepsisters revealed their true, cruel nature. Ella was made to do all the hard chores around the house, sweeping, cooking, cleaning, and waiting on her stepmother and stepsisters as if she were nothing but a servant. She had to sleep in a cold attic, her only friends being the mice and sparrows who lived in the rafters. Because she was always covered in ashes from working near the fireplace, her stepsisters mocked her and called her Cinderella. Despite the mistreatment, Cinderella remained kind and patient. She never complained, always ready to help others and care for the little animals around her. Whenever she felt tired or sad, she remembered her mother's words. Happiness will come to those with a kind heart. Sometimes the little mice and birds would help Cinderella with her chores or bring her little gifts, and these small acts of friendship brought her comfort and hope. One day, the whole kingdom was buzzing with excitement. The king announced a grand ball at the palace so that the prince could choose a bride. Every maiden in the land was invited. Cinderella's stepmother and stepsisters were ecstatic. They spent days talking about dresses, hairstyles, and jewelry. Of course, they made Cinderella do all the sewing, ironing, and polishing for them. Cinderella watched them with longing, wishing she too could attend the ball just once in her life. As the day of the ball drew near, Cinderella gathered her courage and asked her stepmother, "Stepmother, if I finish all my chores, may I go to the ball as well?" The stepmother sneered. If you finish every single task and have a proper dress to wear, then you may go." She was certain that Cinderella would never manage to finish, nor have anything suitable to wear. But Cinderella didn't give up. Late at night, after finishing her chores, she and her animal friends secretly worked on a dress, piecing together old fabric, discarded ribbons, and beads that her stepsisters had thrown away. Together, they finished a simple but lovely dress the night before the ball. On the morning of the ball, just as her stepsisters were ready to leave, Cinderella appeared in her modest but beautiful dress, helped by her little friends. The stepsisters immediately recognized pieces of their old ribbons and fabric, and in a jealous rage, they tore her dress to shreds. Then, along with their mother, they climbed into their carriage and left Cinderella crying heartbroken in the garden. As Cinderella wept in despair, a soft light appeared before her and a kind old woman in a shimmering cloak holding a magic wand appeared. "Why are you crying, my dear?" asked the woman gently. Between sobs, Cinderella told her everything. Smiling kindly, the woman said, "My child, you deserve happiness. I am your fairy godmother, and I will help you." With a wave of her wand, she turned a pumpkin into a magnificent carriage, 4 mice into 4 splendid white horses, and 2 lizards into a coachman and footman. Next, she transformed Cinderella's ruined clothes into a breathtaking ball gown and gave her sparkling glass slippers for her feet. "Remember," the fairy godmother warned, "the magic only lasts until midnight. You must return before the clock strikes 12. Grateful beyond words, Cinderella thanked her and set off for the palace. When Cinderella entered the grand ballroom, everyone was struck by her beauty. The prince was captivated and immediately invited her to dance. All evening, the prince danced only with her, unable to take his eyes off her. The other girls watched with envy, and even her stepmother and stepsisters did not recognize her. The prince talked and laughed with Cinderella, charmed not only by her beauty, but by her gentle and sincere heart. Time flew by, and before she knew it, the clock began to strike midnight. Terrified, Cinderella hurried away from the palace. As she ran down the steps, she lost one of her glass slippers, but she didn't stop. At the last moment, the magic faded, and she was left standing in her old rags. But she managed to keep the other slipper as a memory of that magical night. The prince, heartbroken, picked up the lost glass slipper and vowed to marry the girl who fit it. The next day, the royal messengers carried the slipper throughout the kingdom, trying it on every maiden. Everyone wanted to be the one, but the slipper was much too small for any of them. When the messengers arrived at Cinderella's house, the stepmother locked her in the attic and let only her own daughters try on the slipper. No matter how hard they tried, their feet would not fit. Just as the messengers were about to leave, Cinderella's animal friends managed to help her escape the attic. She appeared and asked if she might try on the slipper. The stepmother and stepsisters tried to stop her, but the royal attendants insisted. The slipper fit Cinderella perfectly, and she pulled out the other one from her pocket, putting it on for all to see. Everyone was astonished to recognize the gentle servant girl as the mysterious beauty from the ball. The prince, overjoyed, came to bring Cinderella to the palace. Their wedding was grand and joyful, and the whole kingdom celebrated. Cinderella never forgot her little animal friends and her fairy godmother, and she always showed kindness even to those who had once treated her badly. She and the prince lived happily ever after, proving that goodness, patience, and a kind heart can change one's destiny and bring true happiness.